Hello my fellow photographers. Since the beginning of my professional career, I was always interested in portrait photography. Following images are part of the series of portraits of Maasai tribe in Tanzania. Let me give you a quick background story. When I arrived to Tanzania, one of the things I wanted to do was to tell stories about life of ordinary people through my photography and video documentary work. I started meeting locals and tried different projects, but my biggest problem was access to the local community. I was a stranger from another country and people were rightfully suspicious about me and with all my cameras. I managed to do some photography and some short stories, and the word got around. At some point, I was approached by one non-profit organization with a request to produce video commercial. While I filming the video, I visited local villages and for the first time really experienced local life. This non-profit is run by mother and daughter from Austria. They're both doctors. With their own money, they started a project with an orphanage and hospital which provides free health care to the local community. They also support children, education in schools, and much more. After I finished the commercial, I showed them my work and asked them if they would like to collaborate in photography and video projects. In exchange for their help with my access to local community, non-profit can use my pictures and videos for free. Fortunately, they accepted. A large part of their work happening in the area which belongs to Maasai tribe. It is located in northern Tanzania between Mount Kilimanjaro and Mount Meru. Majority of Maasai, also known as Maasai Warriors, lead traditional life. They're living in villages called boma, in mud huts with no electricity or running water. Maasai livelihood and wealth in their cattle. They don't hunt, so area is full of wildlife. Men and women dress beautifully in bright shukas and jewelry made from beads. It is not for tourists. They are really dressed like this every day. People of this tribe have amazing faces. I immediately thought that I want to do a series of portraits of Maasais. I wanted something special. An idea of using studio lighting for portraits on location was exactly what I needed. This way I can photograph them in their natural environment with unlimited variety of natural backgrounds. My lighting setup was a single flash in a softbox on a boom pole. I was taking these pictures in the villages around sunset and later in twilight. Using light stand will be impractical because of the wind, cows, sheep, children running around. My solution was having a person carrying the light. Here in this picture you see Cornelia. She is one of the doctors who run that non-profit, and on the other, Maasai Warrior helping me with a flash. With such setup, I can easily move around and change position of the light in seconds. Camera was Canon 5D full frame and lens was 70-200 2.8. This man standing next to the mud hut, wrapped in traditional Maasai shuka, red blanket, has a stick and a fan made of animal's tail. Please note that all body positions on these pictures are authentic. They stand like this. My communication with my models was very limited. Most of the time I will allow them to do whatever they want and just correct it a little bit with my hands, but other than that, that's it. I like the diagonal position on this picture because I can balance man's image with a blue sky, and the zoom lens also allowed me to change different composition quickly because Maasai are not used to be photographed, so I needed to work really fast to keep their attention. Maasai women, despite pretty difficult life, have a great sense of humor and will burst into laughter when they have a chance. The picture was taken in the daylight, no flash. I got a few shots and suddenly this young woman started laughing hard. Only minutes later I realized that another woman behind me was making fun of me. I didn't mind, I got the great shot. After a few days of photographing adults, I had the chance to photograph children. All of them had amazing personalities despite their young age. These future Maasai warriors had a traditional stick and had so much character. Until children became teenagers, they wear whatever is available. I took this picture from the low angle to give a child more adult look and positioned a flash on the side to create somewhat painterly effect with the sky behind him. On this photograph of a mother and child and a grandmother, I was able to capture affectionate feeling between them. Grandmother's hand gently touching baby's head, and the expression on her face is so full of love. I photographed this young man in the middle of his boma, where he proudly stands against dramatic sky. This picture has a humorous story. While I was taking pictures, a small group of men was standing next to us and talking. At some point I noticed that my model was a little nervous and he quickly said something to the other man and they started laughing. I asked for the translation and I was told that he was worried that all my flashes will affect his ability to have children. I tried not to smile and with serious face told him that he will have as many children as he likes and more. This photograph is one of my favorites. Not so much because of photographic qualities, but rather a unique moment of affection between man and a woman. It is not customary in Tanzania and in Maasai tribe in particular to show affection in public. This brief moment of genuine happiness was what made this picture so special for me. It was taken at the end of the session, already late, so I was shooting with only 1/8 of a second, handheld, but flash helped me to freeze the moment. I saw this little boy taking care of goats. He had beautiful eyes and huge eyelashes, was very shy but really wanted to be in the picture. We quickly moved close and I got the shot. With little beautiful girl, I wanted very simple composition with her face and the spiky plant around her, so I changed my exposure to get rid of the background, creating studio-like shot outdoors. This beautiful eyes with such a dull expression, calmly looking at my camera, is what made this image so special. These two ladies had so much character. They're together, but they're so different. Their colorful clothes and jewelry looks beautiful against the evening sky. On the final day of this project, I had a chance to photograph village elders. Most faces of old people have so much history. There is so much wisdom in the eyes of this man. I wanted this portrait to be very close up and low-key to accentuate his eyes. I saw beams of light coming from the sky through the clouds. It was such a cinematic background, so I asked this man to stand there and with the side light and blurry background created somewhat surreal image. Now let me explain the technique I used to create these images. I used manual flash. First I'll measure ambient light, then I will set flash power for exposure 2 stops brighter. So now if I set my camera for the flash, the background will be underexposed by 2 stops. That gives me correct exposure on the person and I will have somewhat darker background but with enough detail. There is no set formula for such images, but 2 stops difference works for me most of the time. If you use automatic flash, it is possible to use exposure compensation on the camera for -2 stops to achieve similar effect. Softbox and other kinds of diffuser is essential to achieve good quality light. Depending on your camera and the flash, you can fire flash wirelessly or you can use a cable. I like to photograph portraits outdoors with flash right after the sunset when the sky has a lot of color and low light conditions give me more control for my exposure settings. Thanks for watching. Until next time.